Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 11th of July. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you a broad overview of what to expect, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in detail each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces. Now this week has a supermoon in the sign of Capricorn, also known as a buck moon. But it's a bit of a misnomer, this, because the moon's actually in its most vulnerable position in its entire journey through those 28 days that it takes to go through its cycle. And because of that, I think it's important to understand that Capricornian energy, where the moon resides, is very much about the worldly realm. And we also have the potent planet of power, Pluto, not too far distant from this moon position too. But on the other side of the heavens, we have the Sun and the more quick-witted energies of Mercury. And they're asking us to think about protection, nurture, security, family issues, anything to do with our emotional needs. Now, it has become a bit of a maxim over the last 10, 15 years or so, that work-life balance. But with the advent of COVID and the amount of people working from home, has that ever been more true than now? So I think all of us could find ourselves in some quite strident conversations this week. There may be that practical, physical realm that we have to service, the demands of work and earning the money, dealing with the realities of life as it is, but how do we balance this with our more emotional needs? And there can be some very intense moments, because broadly the moon and the sun are obviously exactly opposite, but Mercury and Pluto in the mix as well means we have a very intense set of energies on this particular full moon. Now also the energies in the sign of Uranus, which have been very strong this year because of the North Node reversing into Taurus on the 18th of January. And as I predicted in the autumn of last year, a big reset around the cost of living was very likely. Now, of course, now Mars has moved into this sign, but Mars is detrimented in the sign of Taurus, and Mars is also very impatient. It wants to consume, whereas the North Node and Uranus, which come together, by the way, in an exact conjunction on the 26th of July, well, they're much more to do with, in terms of Uranus, the truth, and in terms of the North Node, karma. We could see with Mars in the mix as well, quite a lot of volatility in terms of financial markets. It could be in terms of the cost of foodstuffs or fuel. They've gone up a lot already, but I feel that the response of consumers could be a lot more angry with Mars in the mix. Fortunately, however, Uranus forges a terrific link with the position of the Sun on that full moon. And if we're prepared to, look at things afresh, even things that are a bit stuck or difficult, and be more innovative and flexible in our approach, we can still make progress. Also, Venus, the planet of relating, it forges a very stable link with Saturn in the second half of this week. And that can help us to really appreciate the friendships or the financial part of our situation which are secure. Unfortunately, however, Venus, concurrent to that influence, is squared up by Neptune in the second half of this week. So I think it's possible, with all these energies boiling around, that we may start to see the people that really understand our predicament, are supportive of it, at least, in terms of their emotional understanding of our particular individual situation. And we're going to see people who may want to avoid the reality of some harsh situations, and that could be Venus in that square with Neptune. If you do meet someone for the first time in a romantic context, if it's someone who's quite self-confident and has done well in a financial context, that could be something that actually doesn't feel so good, because the energy in the sign of Cancer is calling for a sense of understanding the importance of nurture, but there still could be some kind of big charged energy, whether it's around a personal situation or the world at large. And I just think that right angle between Venus and Neptune points towards the distortion of information. So if you do meet someone for the first time and you're not quite sure about them, I really would take it slowly. But Venus and Neptune, when they are in a relationship together, can also help us to trip the light fantastic. So maybe we just want to actually have a bit of escapism and enjoy some kind of time with someone who is very mesmeric. It's just down to that personal choice. But for more stable relationships, I think Venus's angle with Saturn is one that we can all really celebrate. Now, I've stormed through the 100,000 subs mark, and I'd love to get to 101 as soon as possible. I think we're about, at the time of recording this video, up to about 100,000 and 100,200 subs. If you've subbed already, thank you so much. If you've yet to do so, I'd be greatly appreciative. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. And if you would like to benefit from more serious astrology, if you tell me 3 pieces of personal information in terms of time, date and place of birth, I can share with you a roadmap that can guide your moves for the rest of your life, and also a 12-month forecast with 30% off with my special package. Please see the link beneath this video. No 2 charts are the same, totally based on your information, and will help you to understand some of the patterns that may have dominated in your life so far, good or bad, and help you to perhaps work on the more challenging ones, but also can give you tremendous insights to guide your moves going forwards and to seize opportunities in a much more effective way. But please stay with me now for your in-depth forecast from Aries through to Pisces. So Taurus, your week commencing the 11th of July forecast is very much about communication. Now, communication isn't just sending a message, it's also the ability to receive one. And then even if we hear what someone's saying, to actually comprehend what they mean. And one of the things that can happen this week is that I think there could be a little bit of a standoff. You may encounter somebody who's rather stuck in their ways or has a particular set of principles that they stick to, but you could come into contact with them, whether it's willingly or not. It just can seem to unfold for you, perhaps even over the next 2 weeks, where your views and their views are almost diametrically opposite. And with Mars now in your sign, that's giving you a lot of extra earnestness, which is a really good thing, because that previous journey of Mars through the sign of Aries was quite challenging for you. So I feel that if someone is pushing back on how you feel about things, they may find a lot more resistance from you than they might expect to get. But of course Uranus is closing up in that conjunction with the North Node, which becomes exact on the 26th. And that's very much about a karmic sort of reaction, because Uranus in your sign, it's not its best location, and nor is Mars in Taurus in its best location. But what the position of the North Node does is suggest that the things you've done over a period of time that are good for you as an individual, they can start to manifest in a much more visible way by the start of August. But that may mean that you're going to have to be strong-minded about sticking to what you believe, even if other people don't necessarily approve or agree. So I think this could be a little bit of a test this week in some ways, but it's not a test that you can't come through. And your ruler forges a brilliant link with Saturn towards the end of this week, which is excellent if you are negotiating some kind of financial situation or package, or perhaps to do with a job. It's just that, of course, Venus also is in a square with Neptune. That just suggests that, you know, friendships and money are probably best kept a little bit apart. Someone could, you know, pull at the old heartstrings a little bit for your support. And, you know, if you're someone who has a very noble approach to life. You're very conscious of those who maybe are not as fortunate as you. It's lovely to support people in the right circumstances. But I think Neptune square Venus could be a bit naughty. So just watch out for someone who may not share your values, who may be interested in something that you have. It could be a possession. Maybe there's a little bit of jealousy even about who you are, your identity. I think there's a very exciting dimension evolving for you, that if you can handle Mars, Uranus and the North Node in your sign carefully, so that means investing in what makes you fresh, vibrant, individual, imaginative, creative, and sticking to who you really are, but not getting caught up in wanting other people to comply to your worldview. And that, even if you're not looking to do so, there could still be some kind of tussle around that point of view. And if you're travelling over the next couple of weeks, that also can be an area which could cause some tensions. What's the best way to handle it? Well, of course, with Mercury in the mix, it's all about planning. Mercury in the sign of Cancer for you is house 3, which is good. It can see your mind quite nimble. But of course, Cancer is watery, and that can diminuate the clarity that Mercury likes. So attention to detail, having some plan Bs, maybe even Cs, because we know the travel industry is going through a very tough time at the present moment, can help you to work your way through all of this. So I think this is a time when your individuality is being given a huge boost, but not everybody around you may be keen to hear some of the messages that you're conveying.